Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this second European session dedicated to the blue economy. The event was organized in partnership with BlueInvest, an initiative of the European Commission to promote innovation and access to finance for the blue economy. The European Investment Project Portal, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and our team at BPI France. I will give the floor to Daniela and Ramona in a minute for more details about the BlueInvest project and the EIPP. Today, we have 6 countries represented. We have Spain, Germany, Hungary, Cyprus, UK, and France. Each CEO will have 5 minutes for the presentation, and you have 5 minutes also to ask your questions by using the chat box. Before I introduce each of them, a few words from Daniela.
Daniela, over to you.
Yes, sorry, I started to talk. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you here. We're very excited to have so many interesting companies with us today teaching. This is one of the key aspects of the BlueInvest, which is to put together companies, entrepreneurs, innovative SMEs, and investors. This collaboration with the EIPP is one key step to do that and to achieve the objective of the BlueInvest, which is to develop a community and an investment platform for SMEs in the blue economy. We want to help companies, we want to make them grow, we want to give them opportunity to have access to investment and also to become more professionally market, to be stronger when presenting themselves. Just to give you a very, very short overview on the BlueInvest, what it is about. So this is a EU finance project that aims to establish a community in the blue economy, focus on investment and SMEs. So within this community, we have a lot of benefits, a lot of features and resources for companies, but also for investors. And these include, for example, our online community, which is in Eurocracy. We have our events, which are both physical events, but also online events, such as this one today. We have a pipeline of companies which we select, we evaluate, and then we publish them online. We showcase them to investors. So it's a great opportunity for SMEs to be visible on the market because they are also qualified by our teams. We provide also assistance to SMEs. So in the course of the project, we are providing assistance to 200 SMEs on investment readiness. So we give them 10 days of coaching, one-to-one coaching, and then this should improve their readiness to receive investments. We also have, together we promote the grants, also known as the EMFF grants. So these are grants for innovative SMEs in the blue economy. They range from 500,000 to up to 2,500 million. And every year there is a call for applications, which should be launched again in the autumn. And finally, we have the BlueInvest Fund, which is financed by the EIPP, the European Investment Fund, where is a fund of funds where we get fund managers to have access to resources to invest in blue economy. So please join our community. That's the core message I want to pass today. I think at the end we're going to show you the website, but it's invest.eu if you're not there yet, where you can receive information about everything we're doing on the BlueInvest. If you're an SME, you want to be showcased, visible, join us, be part of our events, enroll to be in the project pipeline because we will support you in that. And if you're an investor, talk to us because we are really trying to develop qualified leads, qualified deal flow for investors directly. So that's it from me. Thank you very much. And I hope you have a very good teaching session today.
All right, thank you, Daniela. Maybe a few words from Ramona.
Yes, thank you very much, Jerome and Daniela. My name is Ramona Oczak. I am Policy Officer in DG Economic and Financial Affairs of the European Commission, and I'm contributing to the European Investment Project Portal. So the EIPP is part of the investment plan for Europe. And together with the European Investment Advisory Hub, it forms the second pillar of the investment plan. I don't know if you can see my slides.
Yes, we do.
Okay, perfect. So the EIPP acts as a bridge between European project promoters and international investors. It was launched in 2016 and it now covers more than 1,000 projects in 25 different sectors. The goal of the EIPP is to provide visibility to EU-based project promoters and to offer to global investors a one-stop shop of attractive investment opportunities in the EU. We are now covering more than 1,000 projects from smaller to medium-sized and large companies in 25 different sectors, such as digital economy, resources and environment, including blue economy, or financing for SMEs and mid-caps. More than 70 projects have already received financing after being published on the EIPP, and these success stories can also be watched on the EIPP website. Finally, I would like to give you a future outlook on the EIPP. So from 2021 onwards, the EIPP will continue as the InvestEU portal as a part of the InvestEU program, where there will be a direct link to the implementing partners and also to the InvestEU Advisory Hub. So here I would like to end my presentation, and I wish all participants a fruitful e-pitching event today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ramona. And so we start, and before starting, we are very pleased to welcome today Pablo Ruiz Sanchez from Deep Blue Globe, an artificial intelligence that combines Copernicus data and maritime traffic conditions to optimize the journey of ships, saving them time and fuel. Hi, Pablo.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Number two, Mark Hatfield from Flow Water Technologies, a green shipping solution based on a new ballast water management system, providing a safe solution, giving greater flexibility on installation, overall reduced costs and energy consumption. Hi, Mark. Number three, we have Roland Zonai from Ocean Shapers, a plastic snap system designed to be easily replicated, to be suitable for scalability. Hi, Roland.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi. Number four, Mauro Nardocci from SEADSC Defense Solution, a very effective and affordable river plastic interception technology with a 100% collection effectiveness and 20% ROI. Hi, Mauro.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for having us.
Number five, Juan Altarriba from Skimmer, a solution for two important problems in the marine environment, which are excess of water recovered during oil spill recovery operations and recovery of microplastics. Hi, Juan.
Hi, good afternoon.
And last but not least, Stefan Savarez from Technocarbon, a high-performance building material that will be one of the first of the carbon-negative materials capable of replacing cement, concrete, steel, wood, and aluminium. Hi, Stefan.
Hello.
And we can start right away with Pablo.
Okay, so I'm waiting to get control.
Yes, you can start anytime.
Okay.
Pablo, you have control.
Okay, great. Then I will start. So thank you, everyone, for connecting to this presentation. My name is and I am the co-founder of Deep Blue Globe, and today I would like to introduce you to what we do, how we do it, and why I think that Deep Blue Globe could be an interesting opportunity for investment for you. Okay, now I should have. Okay, so now it works for the convenience. So a few words about who we are. We are a team of engineers and scientists that spin off from the European Space Agency with a deep technical background in satellite Earth observation data, project management, provision of real-time and real-time services, and ocean dynamics. So sorry if you can mute yourself, people in the background. Thank you. And which is the problem we are trying to solve is that despite of the tremendous growth of maritime traffic derived from the growth of international commerce and the routes which are operated today are the same routes which were operated more than 50 years ago, which are basically the geodetic route, which is the shortest route. The only deviation from this are a slight that the captain would manually do when there are severe storms or hurricanes, very severe weather conditions that they would like to avoid. We think this approach was fine more than 50 years ago before the crisis, but today, when the fuel consumption represents all the total operational cost of a maritime shipping company, we think that the should be different. So what we are proposing to do is to use Earth observation data and weather forecast, combine it with the actuation algorithms for the vessels, and together with the previous data of the operated routes and their associated fuel consumptions, train an artificial intelligence that would provide the optimal for you. This approach brings several benefits to the customers, from the cost saving derived from the reduction in fuel consumption to the increase of safety for both the cargo and the crew, the reduction of the CO2 and SOx emissions, which is quite a hot topic nowadays, and all of this being implemented in an automatic way in which the captain would just need to acknowledge the change in the route. We have already a mock-up and a demo project that you can see. In this example, we took a route from Bristol to Canaveral Harbour, in which you can see that the shortest route, which is the red route, would go against a current stream, which is originated in the Gulf of Mexico, leading to an increased fuel consumption. And what we propose is to deviate shortly before entering this current stream to save fuel. There is a multi-million-dollar market behind this solution, and while this solution is useful for any kind of maritime operator, and we would like to stress this, so this could be used by fisheries, ferries, any maritime operator, but because of economies of scales, our ideal are the largest shipping companies worldwide. Just to put some numbers on this solution, this route I showed before is a route that would take around a month to be operated, and the fuel bill for this route for a large shipping vessel would be more than $3 million. So a 3% fuel reduction, which is what we computed just because of the impact of the current stream that I mentioned before, would mean more than 100K per vessel per month, which, as you can imagine, is a huge number if you take into account all the ships worldwide. So we have had already a use case with a fisherman in the ocean, and in a 15-day trip, we were able to provide a route in which they arrived 12 hours earlier, keeping the same fuel consumption. This led to 10,000 euros of additional revenue with no additional cost for them. And actually, this also led us to further improve our value proposition, being able to use Earth observation data to identify which are the best sustainable fishing grounds for them. So this is a project that we are developing as an add-on on the route optimization component. Just a few figures about the company itself. We were founded 2 years ago, and since then we have had quite a sustained growth, and in particular last year we were quite profitable. Something that we would like to mention is that we have been sustainable and profitable since the very first day, just with the cash flow generated by the company. And right now, to scale up the company, we are looking for 1.8 million euros, from which half of them we think, and we are quite confident that we can get from public funding, Actually, we are already in negotiations with the European Space Agency to get 500,000. And right now we are looking for an investment round of 900K to grow the team and launch the commercial service. So thank you very much, everyone, for your attention. And sorry for the noise in the background, but I think it was people not muting. So if you have any question, please don't hesitate to either contact us at info@deepblueglobe.eu or just ask here if you prefer.
Thank you for this presentation, Pablo. Before the questions, maybe if you can tell us more about the competition, because we have seen quite a fair number of players in that field recently. So can you tell us more about your competitors?
So at this moment, as I mentioned at the beginning, being offered on the market is the provision of these maps with the weather forecast, in which all the decisions have to be taken by the captains of the vessels. But what it is provided is qualitative information, like what you see on TV, for you to know if tomorrow is going to rain or not. It is only qualitative information. There is no actionable quantitative information. However, we do see, as you mentioned, a drift in this pattern and in this service provision, in which these companies which were offering this service are now shifting towards a similar concept to what I showed today. However, I think that because we understand very well the Earth observation data and their forecast, I think we are capable of providing a unique optimization solution.
Okay, thank you, Pablo. Can you see the questions, or I can just read them? Okay, I'll just go and read the first question. Do you have any partnerships already settled?
So we do have a partnership. So we have partnership in different programs. So we are incubated at the ESA Business Incubation Center. We have a partner with NVIDIA as part of their Inception program to develop artificial intelligence solutions, in our case, focus on the maritime industry. And we are part of the Wikio consortium as early adopters, in which the EUMETSAT, Mercator Ocean, and ECMWF, which are the entities which are providing this Earth observation and weather data, are providing cloud computing capabilities to companies. So we have preferential conditions with them. And this is in terms of the technical partnerships, and on terms of the commercial partnerships. As I mentioned, we have some contacts and agreements already with some fisheries operating in the Atlantic area. And we are establishing also a preliminary agreement. We are exploring the data that they can provide, and we are trying to set up a pilot similar to the one we established with fisheries with Hapag-Lloyd in Germany.
Thank you. We have a second question from Ian Shepherd. He said he saw a company that used AIS to measure currents. Do you know if that works?
I think that you can get an indicator, yes. However, I am not sure whether the data you can get from the AIS, knowing that the uncertainty of the data which is made available in the AIS, I doubt that it would be better than the direct measurements that we can have from satellite altimetry, for example. So you can get an estimation, yes, but I think that there are other ways to measure this directly, which is available today and will be more accurate.
Okay, thank you. We have another question from Eric Kant. He would like to come back to the origin of your project and the problem you targeted. Why, with current high technologies, are the major shipping companies not able to optimize routes on their own by just, like a high performance GPS, for instance?
The thing is that the GPS would give you a lot of accuracy, and it is used to know where they are, but where they should go, this is a problem that is related to the actual future conditions, and this is not something that you can derive only from your position. So with the GPS, you can know quite accurate where you are. If you record this data, you can know where you have been. And actually, this is what we use also to train our artificial intelligence model to optimize the route. So we know where they have been in the past and the fuel consumptions they had in the past. And this is what we combine with the weather conditions and associated the current streams and the winds and waves in the past to build a model in which they are able to reproduce this in the future.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, you cannot compare with a car because on the road, the conditions are always the same, whereas at sea, it's always different, right? With wind.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. All right. I think we are done, Pablo. No more questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to you. And please, everyone, do not hesitate to send an email and we will come back to you as soon as possible.
Thank you, Pablo. Number 2, Mark Hadfield from Flow Water Technologies. Mark, the floor is yours.
Mark, you are on mute. You will have to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, I'm just trying to get the slides to react. It actually says here I've got control, but nothing's actually working.
Try page up, page down.
Yeah, I'm doing that now.
And you have clicked on the screen as well?
Yes, I have clicked on the screen.
Okay, let me see if I can. There.
Aha, something happened. Okay, let's hope that I'm going to change slides now. Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Mark Hadfield. I'm the founder of Flow Water Technologies and the IP behind one of our main products, the FlowSafe Ballast Water Management System. Just open the screen. Okay, we're working. Flow Water Technologies was formed in Limassol. It's the second largest European shipping hub here in Cyprus. And it was formed by a group of like-minded individuals who were interested in the subject of ballast water, which is the control of spreading, to stop spreading invasive species and disease around the world. And we were also interested in up-and-coming environmental regulations that were facing shipping companies and ship owners. The company has a good skill set and knowledge base in this particular sector with its team. It also shares that with its working partners, its consultants, the shipping regulators, and its shareholders too. And on the slide in front of you, with hindsight, I should have actually added 2 of my shareholders, which are ex-senior executives from Honeywell Electronics, Andreas Kramvis being the ex-vice president, giving obviously some form of credibility to our shareholder list. We have a very unique designed ballast water system that's been welcomed by the industry for not only meeting revised regulations that have caught out some of the major players in the industry, but we've also took into account other environmental legislation approaching the industry. And what we have actually created is the world's first carbon neutral ballast water management system. As ballast water systems generally consume high levels of energy and a new low sulfur cap law in force today, the carbon neutral aspect of our system attracts easier financing packages for the ship owners through blue technology and funding schemes. Our product is driven by legislation, and starting this year, under legal requirements, vessels are fitting systems to comply with what is known as the D2 standards, which is covered by the IMO and the US Coast Guard regulations. There are between 40 to 50,000 vessels in the first rule of the convention, and this will eventually extend to vessels under 400 tons and enter into the super yacht market, which will extend installation plans a further 5 years beyond the current dates. The timing for flow water is perfect, as the desired vessels that yield high earning potential initially gained extensions to the first fitment dates, and they will not start fitting until early to mid 2021 when all our paperwork is complete. In an industry driven by legislation and engineers, we identified our customer base from an early stage and designed the FlowSafe ballast water management system for difficult to fit vessels. when I say difficult to fit vessels, these are vessels that have got absolutely no room in the area where the equipment has to be fitted. And we have a very complicated but easy to fit, complicated to describe but easy to fit system that lends itself very well to these difficult to fit vessels. This simple chart is put together, the chart on the screen is put together with accurate data from the world fleet, taking into account scrappages and the competition. We identified a unique position on very hard to fit vessels and the replacing of all the pioneering systems that have been decommissioned. The major manufacturers actually recommend us for these type of vessels as they're unable to engineer solutions to fit. So we are seen in the industry as a friend to other manufacturers. Company to date has been funded through private investment and is capitalised to €9 million, with approximately 12 million shares issued and an authorised share capital limit of 40 million shares. We are seeking today €7 million to conclude the final stage of our approval and to start pre-building units that we've already taken orders for. We'd also like to purchase stock for another project, which is our drinking water and disinfection system, which is a project that's gathered tremendous traction just recently by stopping plastics going to sea. We've already engaged with a professional business for fundraising, and ironically, we launched a portfolio tomorrow, and this is an example from their presentation that can be available. So basically, all the financial summaries and everything are ready for everybody to view at any time. So thank you very much for listening to me today for the 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mark. Waiting for the first questions. Maybe just the first comment. So what you say is that on top of providing a solution to the installation, reduce costs and energy consumption, it could be also used to kind of reduce the issue of invasive species?
Yes, that's the whole idea behind ballast water. It's to actually stop the spread of invasive species around the world and diseases carried in water.
Okay, this is very important.
Yes, very important. The environmental impact is absolutely huge.
It is. Any questions for Mark? I had one, Mark.
Yes, one from Pia.
Okay, can you read it? Oh, Pia, okay, I can see it.
What are your major development milestones over the next few years?
Sorry, there was two people talking then. Can you repeat the question?
Sorry, please carry on.
What are your major development milestones over the next few years?
We're actually very well into the milestones of getting type approval. Any day now, we're actually waiting for notification that we've received the IMO final approval. And due to COVID, we are slightly delayed with US Coast Guard because some of the testing on board the vessel has not been allowed because obviously there's been travel bans. But up to date, all the technical assessments, all the tests, everything that we've had to achieve, we've passed with great success. And basically the project is going very, very well.
Mark, I had a question about the business model. What is the specific effort you have to make for each new customer? Because as you said, each ship is different.
Yeah, every ship is different. What we decided in the early days was rather than aiming for the general market where players like Alfa Laval and Wärtsilä, giants in the marketplace, had aimed for, we decided, because of our knowledge and speaking to directors in the shipping industry here in Limassol, we started to identify that nearly every fleet had a vessel that they did not know who to turn to for a ballast water management system. So in our design, the more and more we learned, we realized that in the world fleet, there was going to be 6,000 difficult to fit vessels, but at least 2,000 vessels. And bear in mind, the system can be anything from €500,000 to €1 million. This was a marketplace that we very, very specifically aimed for. and we decided to continue our engineering challenge to make sure that we could meet this very specific market, as no other manufacturer wanted to go there.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, I think we are done. Thank you very much, Mark.
Okay, thank you.
Number 3, Roland from Ocean Shapers.
Roland, you have control over the mouse now. If you could unmute yourself. Roland, you are still on.
Yes, I found it. Thank you so much, Kathleen. Thank you so much, Jerome, as well. So hi, everyone. I am Roland Zonai, and I am fascinated about mobile games. Sorry. Yes. So why am I fascinated about mobile games? They are fun. They give you control over the impact you make in the game, and you feel progressing and get rewarded for the achievements that you make. I believe that cleaning the ocean should be also fun. So we can love helping the cause of ocean cleanup the same way in the end of the day as we love playing video games. At Ocean Shapers, basically our vision is that we would like to have a decentralized ocean cleanup activity all around the world that is funded by vision, that is funded by enjoyment, and we replace the element of donation with something that people love on the day-to-day basis, that is coming from shopping. So we at Ocean Shapers develop a platform for mobile gaming, sustainable shopping, and contributing to the protection of the ocean via gamifying the activity of ocean plastic collection and visualizing the impact creation process for the users. We aim to redefine how people approach the concept of ocean cleanup because it's a fairly distant concept to many of us. The EU surveyed that only 37% of residents actually feel that such environment problems have a direct effect on our day-to-day life. So the main element of the platform that we're creating is the Ocean Shapers mobile game. That is a mobile game about ocean plastic collection, while it also integrates content that visualizes the real-world impact of ocean plastic collection that is funded by the users of the game. Each level is designed in the game to visualize the same scale of impact that the users create in the real world with their contributions. The majority of this contribution is transferred to strategic partners to fund real-world ocean and river plastic collection activities around Europe and the Asian Pacific. For corporations, we offer remote plastic footprint neutralization and hyper-personalized branded in-app content to drive green PR presence. We have a team of seasoned experts who worked at major players in the IT and mobile industry, while we also have suitable competency in business model design from previous personal expert involvement in the Horizon 2020 SME instrument. We have 4 major stakeholder groups. We collaborate with nonprofits on the side of plastic collection, and we act as a mediator for the app users, for the web shops, and the corporations. We have a separate proposal for each of the groups. For users, we focus on in-app microtransactions and connecting the ocean contributions with in-game rewards that incentivize shopping at eco-brands and develop sustainable behavior. For web shops, we propose to integrate coupon campaigns into our game and deliver behavioral data about the purchases. For companies, we neutralize their plastic footprint and issue an Ocean Shapers eco-label. We have a similar hybrid marketing strategy where we focus on mass social media campaigns, influencer marketing, esports events, and web shop partners to reach masses of users. For B2B partners, we provide free tailored demo app integrations. We use a freemium model, so users can try and perceive the element of joy from the first minute, while we establish completely new revenue channels for web shops and corporations as our value proposition. We are aware of key competitors who approach each stakeholder group, and we provide a superior solution on each area. Furthermore, we are also aware of the exact market subsegments where we can grow, and we have a solid channels of scalability in them. Regarding our implementation, the business plan, the team, and the functional prototype are ready, and we need 250,000 euros in 2 steps to develop a full marketable version for the global launch. Regarding our current presence, we already demonstrated the app on the field for Kiwi.com flight aggregator and gave a solution to them to gamify the air travel. Each user who progressed in the game and visited new cities with their character could unlock discounted flight coupons for the same cities on the Kiwi website. So currently we are in partnership negotiations with them and also to extend to different stakeholders. We are confident in successfully modernizing how people approach ocean cleanup, and we can't wait to give you the control of your own impact in this modern form. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Roland. We have a first question. What is your main revenue source?
Our main revenue source is the users themselves. So from the stakeholders, from the different group of stakeholders that I have listed before, all in the end of the day come back to the eco users themselves, who we derive the analytical data from, who are also paying the in-app purchases within the game. We are building for the mass. So we are using different channels on social media. We are using the modernized new channels in social media, such as TikTok, such as integration in Pinterest, in Twitter, in Facebook, Instagram. That is our main channel.
Okay, we have another question. How do you guarantee that the funds are used for ocean cleaning?
Yes, this is a very important question. At the moment, there is no, when it comes to plastic footprint neutralization for corporations, at the moment, there are different initiatives like the 3R initiative that is being developed to create standard worldwide accepted protocol for ensuring that new corporations who are being connected into such fundraising platform are going to be going to ensure that they are going to do the ocean cleanup in the end of the day. For us, because this protocol hasn't been as established as on the government level at the moment, we are creating our specific compliance protocol, and we are basing this on the currently available CO2 CO2 footprint reduction platforms that are in place. So we are taking those gold standards and remodifying them to create a sort of certification, how we are scoring which partners are going to be reliable. And especially within the European Union, we are planning to operate. And to ensure with personnel from our team, specifically being present at the ocean cleanup site to ensure that the cleanup is going to take action.
Thank you. We have another question. How does the game work for a user? Concretely, what does he have to do? Do you have a use case?
Yes. The current prototype that I presented as the use case is the one that we submitted for the Kiwi.com's challenge. Generally, the game itself works in the same way as most of the hyper casual games work. So there is a sort of unlimited level where the user can progress with the character for forever. And with this character, it's an ocean animal where we are giving this sort of awareness to the user what is happening below the sea. So with this character, you have to avoid different incoming plastics, and you have to receive different points by. Sorry, it's living by itself. You have to earn different types of points by avoiding plastic and by like progressing through the game. And when you are reaching specific like scores, like specific milestone scores within the game, you can redeem this for different coupons from web shops for different in-game items. And there is a one section in the game where you can also change your character into a ship, into different type of characters which can collect these plastics. And in that part of the game, you can only collect plastic if you also collect plastic in the real life. So in that case, whenever you make a purchase in an eco web shop, for example, you buy some things here, you buy some things there. In that case, you are contributing some part of your purchase to real-world ocean cleaning. So you're going to collect like 50 bottles or 100 bottles from here and there. And in the game itself, you can collect the same amount of plastic as well. So within the game, we have different levels. Like for level 1, let's say you need to collect 100 plastic bottles, which equals to like 50 square meters of ocean when it comes to the distribution of the plastic in real life. So we are in order for you to finish specific levels and collect that amount of plastic, you have to collect the same plastic in real life. And you are going, when you finish one specific level with cleaning like 50 square meter or 100 square meter, you are going to be shown specific impact pictures.
So we're a bit out of time. Just to conclude, maybe the last question that we all have is the following: do you have, Roland, do you have the knowledge of any other business applied to environment that use your strategy, which is gamification? Because that's the question all investors and myself have right now. Are you aware of such a business?
Yes, currently there is only one business that combined impact gaming and physical real-world result in their game. But that game is focused on maintaining animal reserves in Africa. So for ocean games, so far at the market, there is only meaningful games where you are aware of the ocean pollution. But when you are progressing in the game, there is no game at the moment which is actually cleaning plastic from the real world when you are progressing.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. We're again a bit out of time, so we move right next to the next presentation. Mauro Narducci from Sea Defense Solution.
Mauro, you are on mute still. Can you unmute? Mauro, you are on mute, but you are controlling the slides now. I think I will. Can you unmute yourself? Yes, Mauro, you are still on mute. 1 second. Let me see if I can do it from my end. You need to unmute yourself. Okay, 1 second. Mauro, I'm going to gain control and then I'm going to unmute you. You are now not muted, Mauro. Can you?
Fantastic. Thank you so much. When I take control, the commands to unmute were impossible to reach. So I will take control back and start my presentation.
Okay, you've got control now.
Let me go back at the beginning. It's a little slow. Okay, here we are. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mauro and we're SEEDS, Sea Defense Solutions. And I'm presenting you the most effective way of addressing ocean plastic pollution and making money out of it. Not just making money for investors, that's we give it for granted, but also for our clients. Why do I mention this? Because we believe deeply that to really make environmental protection activities scalable and impactful, we need to make them profitable. That's why we partner with Solar Impulse Foundation that certified our project to be helpful for the environment, helping the quality of life of the local communities, and making money and being profitable. So just to give you, I'm sure all of you are aware of the problem, but just to give you some measures and some numbers, we're talking about 10 million soft-on plastics entering the oceans every year, and 80% of this comes from river. So we are focusing on the rivers because most of the plastic comes from river, but not only, also because when plastics get to the ocean, it starts degrading into microplastic. It sinks. There's only 1% of plastic in the ocean that's floating, and so it's impossible to recover. So when you hear people telling you they will clean the ocean, that it's technically, basically impossible at the moment. I hope it will become feasible in the future. How? Okay, so what is our solution? Our solution is very simple. We designed the blue barriers. You see them very close, these two barriers, but it's just for illustration purpose. They can be placed at 500 meters of distance, and what they do, they basically just divert all the plastic from the column of water and they bring it to a collection basin on the side. We have no impact on river life nor boat navigation. We collect 100% of plastic in rivers and 92% when there are floodings, which is when most plastic is transported. We designed the technology so simply that basically you can produce it everywhere, which dramatically drop all the costs of transportation and production. They are designed to be modular, so can be applied to any river, from the smaller to the larger ones, and their resilience to any condition with plastic, with steel cable in the center. What happens to the plastic that we collect? Well, we already have a market for the plastic that is high quality, that can go to a recycling market and be sold. For the low quality plastic that currently is deemed to be just remaining in the environment, we propose also the installation of pyrolysis, small pyrolysis plant that can transform this plastic into oil that can be then transformed into energy or into new plastic. So generating further revenues on which we take a little fee. So why should the local administration install our barriers? Well, I just said it because they can make money out of it. They collect their plastic, so they protect the environment, they increase the quality of life of their local communities, and they can have an ROI over 40% on a 10-year period. So what is our addressable market? Depending on the studies, approximately 4,000 rivers are identified to be significantly polluted by plastic. So we have an addressable market from $1 to $6 billion. And as you can see from our revenues, over time, our revenues don't depend only from the installation, how many barriers we install, but they grow the recurrent revenues that comes from maintenance, and especially from this little fee that we get from the money that the local administrations make by reselling this valuable oil. What we're asking at the moment is an investment needs of $400,000. First, to fill in a vacancy in our team, we want to have a financial advisor that will help us grow and get the right fundings for the company, and scaling up our sales and marketing in our target geographies. Where we are at the moment, we were supposed to have already installed our first 2 barriers, one in Italy and one in Jakarta in Indonesia. We are waiting because the COVID has basically diverted the attention for the local administrations, but we are aiming to get these 2 barriers installed by the end of 2020. What we learned in the meantime is that we really need local grip. That's why we are currently establishing partnership with local organizations in all our key countries, Indonesia, China, India, Brazil, and Vietnam, so that we can have a much stronger relationship with local administrations in all these countries. Finally, just an overview of the competitors. I mean, none of these competitors have been designed to solve these problems. So you have, for example, I don't know, the interceptor, which is extremely expensive and doesn't fit, for example, small river because it really it's too big or it's too expensive for that. You have bubble barriers, which basically are produced by this tube at the bottom, which easily gets covered and costs so much to get uncovered and continues in investment of maintenance. And then you have pipes that basically are floating and where plastic easily slips under. So finally, our team is a great team. That's me. I have 15 years experience of marketing and strategy in large organizations. That's Fabio Dal Monte, the other co-founder, which has 10 years experience of waste management consulting. And we have great partnership with both startup experts and university teams. So we are really looking forward to working with all of you. Please don't hesitate to share your questions or reach out for any further information. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mauro.
Thank you, Mauro. We take a first question from Ian Shepherd. Why do you think it will have no impact on marine life?
Yeah, because we have in our team, as I mentioned, we have a lot of established relationship with universities. So we got in touch both with marine biologists and with WWF. So these barriers are basically just covering the first meter of the river. They don't touch the bottom. So fishes can go everywhere and they can pass in the middle. So basically we also want to understand, will we affect the egg or the reproduction of the fishes? And there's nothing, because most of them are just depositing their eggs at the very bottom, under rocks, under plants, so they're protected from predators. So basically, we have no actual impact. What we do also, we are expecting to collect a lot of wood, and we will reintroduce the quantity that's needed to keep the floats going after the barriers. That's the only thing, but we already addressed this problematic from the start.
Okay, thank you. We take a last question. It's supposed to, we can suppose it is highly capital intensive. So how do local administrations obtain the ROI? You know, how long does it take to be profitable for them?
Yeah, so it depends on few factors. So it depends on the cost of the oils. It depends on how big is the river. But from our projections, I mean, in a classic example, so an administration in Southeast Asia, where most of the plastic polluted rivers are, we're looking at a payback periods of approximately 3 to 4 years. And the ROI of more than 100%, depending also on the size of the river and the cost, the price of the oil, right? We know that at the moment is an historic low, but we're referring to the average of the last 5 years, and these are the projections that we have at the moment. So 3 years of payback and more than 100% of return on investment for Southeast Asian countries.
All right, thank you, Mauro.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you for your presentation. We now move on to the next with Juan from our skimmer.
Good afternoon. I'm trying to get control of the season. Good afternoon. My name is Juan Altarriba. I'm co-founder and CEO of Solar Engineering. We specialize in sustainable and efficient for oil spill recovery. Our oceans desperately need better solutions for addressing the environmental disaster they are facing. In 2018, 116,000 tons of oil were spilled in our oceans. Due to weathering, oil becomes much used, making its pumping very difficult during recovery operations. As a consequence, over a 50% of the recovered fluid is water. Another major problem facing our oceans is the fact that a staggering 150 million tons of plastics have been accumulated in them. The plastic islands is not big debris, but the very small particles they break down into. And 85% of the plastic particles are smaller 5 millimeters and small microplastics. Microplastics are extremely difficult to recover and easily enter our food chain. The good news is that our skimmer effectively and efficiently recovers both oil and microplastics from marine environments and removes water in excess before pumping. That means huge energy savings of over 40% and a very important reduction of operational costs. Our groundbreaking technology that operates based on 3 successive processes, recovery, separation, and pumping, has been patented in Europe. Our groundbreaking technology, for the first time, a positive displacement pump and a centrifugal separator have been joined in a single device, and we have patented this innovation. The core of our skimmer is Pump 1, our positive displacement pump, capable of operating with the most viscous fluids and debris. Pump 1 offers the lowest energy consumption in its category, and Sedocere is one of the only 4 manufacturers of this kind of pump in the world, which is the most valued by the oil spill response professionals. This opens up 2 massive and growing markets globally: the oil spill response market and the wastewater treatment equipment market. We plan to access a market segment of over $87 billion. Our business model is a B2B equipment sales, and our target clients are ports, private and public companies dedicated to marine environment, oil and gas companies, as well as wastewater treatment companies. In order to scale sales internationally, we will use channel partners. And thanks to the groundbreaking advance our technology will bring, and thanks to our deep knowledge of the market, we have made great traction, having signed important exclusive and non-exclusive distribution agreements globally. In parallel, we have been engaging directly with end users. The first feedback we got showed us the need to gain the trust of final customers. To do so, we are running pilots with our existing Pump 1 in its standalone version. For example, Aqua Spill Response, a major player in the oil spill response, in cooperation with the public oil and gas company of Cuba, organized recently a trial to show Pump 1 performance during tank cleaning operations. Results were excellent, and our pump has been certified for future purchases. The same experience will be repeated next week in Repsol Refinery in Puertollano, Spain. PET pilots will give us an early source of income. We also need to get our skimmer ready for the market and to digitize the system to enable remote monitoring and control of the units when deployed. Thus, our target is to surpass the 20 million euro annual revenue during 2026. To do so, we are now requesting a seed funding of 1.7, and we have planned a Series A funding round of 1.2 million euros by 2023. We are a very experienced team of co-founders. Myself have more than 20 years experience in the oil spill recovery market. I understand the technology, the market, the competitors, and the dynamics of buying decision-making in the sector. Jose Castillo is an expert in business administration and finance. Sergio Castillo is an expert in business development and operations. Together, we form a solid core from which to scale the team. I will conclude by saying that we are a very attractive investment opportunity that will not only deliver a profitable business, but will also contribute to the blue economy, to the Europe's Green Deal, to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and that will also contribute to the ocean cleanup operations across the globe. Thank you.
Thank you, Juan. We have 2 questions. First one is, what is the business model for microplastics recovery?
Okay. At the moment, we are concentrated in finishing the development and the final testings with the second prototype of our skimmer. We are proposing it as to test it as a pilot to European Coast Guard, as SASEMAR, to Castalia, which is an Italian company, a consortium that is contracted by the Environmental Ministry in Italy, and are going to test this equipment with them. This will be the first market traction for our skimmer. Then obviously all the Coast Guards and environment ministries, public administration, and ports are our target clients for this kind of application.
All right, thank you. One last question. What is your earning model and how long can you keep to it? I think the investor's question is, in order to sell, there must be some kind of oil spill catastrophe. So how do you cope with that?
Our equipment must be bought not when an oil spill occurs, but must be in the ships of salvage of the Coast Guard. Every country, every state Coast Guard every year is buying equipment to be to can afford a dramatic situation on an oil spill. So we attend these public tenders. We are attending these private tenders from oil and gas companies that buy equipment every year, and they are filling their warehouse in order to be equipped and to react in front of a disaster.
Okay, I'm not sure you said that before, but is there any regulatory compliance about what you just said? Is it compulsory for ships to have this kind of wear on board?
Yes. Every state in the world, especially in the European community, contingency plan that put this obligation about all the actors in the sector, oil spill companies, ports, Coast Guards, regions, administrations. All of them must be equipped with this kind of equipment in order to react in front of an oil spill.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for your answers. We move on to the last presentation, with Stéphane Savarez.
Thank you, John. Yes, so thank you very much for inviting us. We are building the future using high-performance sustainable materials, and that's in line with our mission, which is to protect the climate and oceans and seashore from sea level rise. And I will explain in a minute how. So we start from our technology, which is a new material which can replace the carbon-intensive material and can quickly become carbon neutral and even carbon negative, creating a new carbon sink in construction and infrastructure, so that we can actually remove CO2 from the building operations. So 20% of the global GHG emissions come from manufacturing materials, and actually most of these 20% come from only 3 materials, which are cement, steel, and aluminum. So we've designed a material which can replace them. And it's a straightforward idea, which is to bind and carbon fiber, which are really stable and low carbon emission materials, so that we can reduce 90% of the CO2 emissions of the manufacturing process of materials across a wide spectrum of applications in the most impactful verticals, which are energy, construction, and transportation. So this was validated during the phase 1 of our technology development, so incubation until the first sales, to advanced material pioneers Lamoureux and Ricciotti, who are a French civil engineering firm familiar with introducing new materials to the market. So that's how we started, and the next phase will be acceleration, which is going to the industrial phase. Now that our product is proven, that we have received a number of requests for proposals from very large customers and sent out over 10 million euros of quotations in only one semester. We need to prepare to be able to deliver those sales orders when we get them, hopefully by the end of this year. And that requires a manufacturing facility of a certain size, which represents an investment of about 10 million euros, plus 5 million euros of technology and startup fees. So that's a 15 million euro Series A that we are trying to prepare right now. There are two kinds of large projects that we are aiming for. The first one is buildings, bridges, piers, and dikes in the hydropower and maritime industry. And the second one is the Olympic Village for the Paris Games 2024, where the next phase of construction, slated for 2022-2023, will require very low GHG containing materials. And also there is a third kind of market that we will eventually address, which are the high value niches with designers, European Space Agency, and light rail and hyperlinks companies like Superways. So I'm going to show you quickly 3 use cases, and we can come back to them during the Q&As. The first are facade panels and roof tiling and deck tiling. That's fairly straightforward. We manufacture large plates of 1 meters by 2 approximately. And these are 3 times thinner than regular stone plates and 3 times lighter than steel plates. So by reducing the weight of the infrastructure, we save on the amount of material, which is already 2/3 saving on GHG emissions. And then by having a very low carbon emission process, we go all the way to 90% reduction. And in a later phase, when we have developed even lower carbon and carbon capturing schemes for making those materials, either the carbon fiber or the minerals or both, then carbon fiber stone will become carbon negative. The second use case is pillars and piles and beams. So here we have a head-to-head comparison to the left of a carbon fiber stone pillar and its steel equivalent to the right. And they have the same load, but one of them is 3 times lighter and its manufacturing emits the CO2 emissions of the steel pillar. And we can use this 2 ways, either 100% carbon fiber stone, and in order to give some time for the professionals and the large construction firms to get used to the material, we also have developed a hybrid concrete plus CFS version, which reduces the emissions less, but still saves a lot of material. And this is the 3D model that you have to the upper left, where you can see a carbon fiber stone grid and plates, and you cast the concrete in the middle, and you obtain very quickly a finished pillar with a stone finish on the outside, and that pile will never rust. And that's another takeaway of our technology, which is we multiply by a factor of 5 to 10 the lifetime of infrastructure, so that you don't have to rebuild them 50 or 60 years from now. It's also a benefit for maintenance and safety, by the way. But then we come to our third application, which is the most impactful, and Technocarbon is very keen on becoming a very high impact startup for climate change. And that's dealing with the largest infrastructures, namely dams or tsunami and erosion protection of seashore. Here you have a model of a very large dam, and that could be made with 100% carbon fiber stone. And in fact, it doesn't make sense to build those infrastructures with concrete anymore, because the more you build, the more you emit CO2 while you're trying to fight against the consequences of climate change. So the way we build now actually defeats the purpose. We need to change the model and create a new carbon sink in those large infrastructures, and that's using carbon fiber stone. Of course, these dams are always combined.
Sorry to interrupt, Stefan. I'm being told that the time is up, so can you conclude?
Yeah. So the conclusion is that Technocarbon is one of the highest impact startups around. Our technology can save 20% of CO2 emissions worldwide if it reaches scaling. We have an ambitious Series A fundraising of 50 million euro. We've raised 500K at the seed round, and now we are looking for our lead investor that can raise 1 and 2 million euros. We already have large funds who have committed to co-invest, but we're already looking for these shrewd and far-sighted investors who understand the long-term benefits and realize that the short-term business model can work, because we address 3 main challenges in the construction. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. That was very clear. We have 2 questions. The first is, what are the substitution materials you're competing with, except, of course, the traditional ones?
Well, if you're looking for sustainable high-performance materials, there are not so many around, because they are either high performance or they are not sustainable. So we're not competing directly with anything like low carbon concrete, because low carbon concrete saves only 50% of emissions. We are already at 90% and would be at 100% or more soon. And in terms of performance, those low carbon versions do not meet the requirements or the specifications for the high performance applications, such as large high-rise buildings or large infrastructures like dams. And we don't do wood dams for other reasons.
Okay. And the second question, which is related to the first one, is that's a question we all have. What's the price ratio, like traditional versus your solution? Because we assume that you don't build rockets. You need huge volumes for what you build, like seawalls, for instance. So how can you? What's the cost?
Yeah, well, we're using stone, and this stone is about 100 euros per ton. So what's expensive in there is the carbon fiber, and we use very little of it. And that's the beauty of the technology. We use just the right amount of carbon fiber, which is completely different from carbon fiber composites, resin, and a lot of carbon fiber. So that's completely different. So at scale, we can become price competitive with steel and concrete. Of course, right now we have only very small facilities, so our production costs are too large because there is a lot of inefficiency. But if we had a large plant of roughly the same size as a cement factory or steel factory, we would be cost competitive.
Okay,
because we're using resources which are not under tension. We will never run out of fiber. So we already have addressed this issue of conserving natural resources and avoiding the bottlenecks in the supply chain.
Okay, so basically your cost per cube meter would be more or less the same as the one made of concrete?
No, that's not exactly. There is a trick. It would be 3 times higher than steel, but we need 3 times less CFS than steel, so we would be cost competitive.
Okay, thank you very much for the answers. All right, thank you. Thank you all. This is the end of this session. Thanks a lot. Thanks for your presentations, Pablo, Mark, Roland, Mauro, Juan, and Stefan. The 50 investors registered will be given your contacts tonight, and the date of the next Blue Economy pitch will be indicated in September. We wish you all a very good holiday. If you, Renata or Ramona or Daniela, want to say something?
Meantime, thanks, Jerome, for the opportunity, and thanks, everybody.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Wish you a very good holiday.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Bye-bye.